The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. www.xzoneradiotv.com is our website, and you can always listen to the archives for the past 90 days at www.xzonepodcast.com. No cost, no obligations, all from the X-Zone Radio Show, Relmar McConnell Media Communications Group, and of course our fine sponsors. X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Daniel Rechnitzer, and we're going to be talking about, well, let me put it to you this way. How many of you out there use a diary? Well, we're going to be talking about a very special diary this hour, the All-Knowing Diary. 14 years ago, Daniel made a life-changing discovery. He discovered that his mind in a complete space of stillness had a remarkable capacity and capability. It became like an antenna, able to draw on outside information like a radio tuning into other frequencies. Now, one could almost say that an all-knowing was becoming available. He soon discovered his brain was doing something most unique. It was becoming one, forming into a whole brain rather than two brain hemispheres working separately. In this whole brain space, he could access information on the root cause of life experiences, from the root cause of illness to the thoughts behind relationship failures, to subconscious beliefs cracking and creating financial struggles. He had tapped into a gift he has since found each and every one of us to have, an all-knowing brain. Joining me now is Daniel Rechnitzer. And Daniel, thank you very much for joining the X-Zone tonight.
Hello, Rob, and hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Daniel, give us a little bit of an idea what you were doing when you had this eureka moment and you discovered that we all have an all-knowing brain.
Yeah, great question, Rob. You know what? It's really been a series of moments. There's been a lot of experiences. I used to have a lot of experiences when I was younger where, I'd be talking to somebody, they'd be telling me they've got a migraine, and the reason behind the migraine would start coming into my thoughts. The answer was there. It was, the why they were having it. And this kept happening time and time again, even in my business career. The exact solution to a business problem would pop in. And look, it got to a point where people would be telling me that they're unwell, they got this illness or that illness, and I would tell them what I was feeling, and the illness would go.
That's amazing.
And it was really at that point where I had to stop, dismissing it and going, well, that's just in my imagination. Big things were starting to happen. So, I had many of those experiences over my life.
But, Daniel, you say that each and every one of us has this ability, and is it hard to tap into?
Look, everyone does have the ability, and it's not hard to tap into. The missing link, Rob, has been a lack of self-belief. Now, so many of us are brought up with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecurities, and that disables the true purpose of the brain. When we have self-belief, those two hemispheres, the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, they kind of sing in resonance with that self-belief, and they become more like a wireless antenna. So, it actually only takes about an hour and a half to get that working.
Just an hour and a half.
Yeah. It took me about 12 years. It took me about 12 years to learn how to teach somebody in an hour and a half.
Well, I'm telling you, there are people out there that I know for a fact it would take them a complete other lifetime to tap into it. But hopefully we can do something for them over the next 40 minutes.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much for joining us, Daniel. You're a very busy man, and we appreciate your time here with us tonight on the X-Zone. X-Zone Nation, my very special guest tonight is Daniel Rechnitzer. We're talking about how we've all been misunderstanding our human brain, and that we all have within us an all-knowing diary. His website, www.allknowingdiary.com. That's www.allknowingdiary.com. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, Star Cable, and of course our growing family of broadcast affiliates right across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, Asia, India, Africa, and Europe. I'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break with my very special guest for this hour, Daniel Rechnitzer. We're going to be talking more about the All-Knowing Diary this hour here in the X Zone. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
X Zone Nation, welcome back. Our special guest this hour is Daniel Rechnitzer. We're going to be talking more about his new book, All Knowing Diary. His website is www.allknowingdiary.com. Daniel, you say that so many of us are not using the human brain as it was intended, thereby utilizing only 5 to 10% of it. Now, to this fact, how do we explain this? And how do we know we're only using 10 to 15%? Or 5 to 10%?
A lot of questions all in one there, Rob. Well, let's start with that last one. How do we know?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at so many of us and the current world that we live in, there's so much upheaval. There's so much struggle. There's people causing harm to their own bodies. There's people causing harm to their families.
Mm-hmm.
People causing harm to the planet. We are meant to be at the top of the food chain, yet we're the ones who are living most incongruent with nature and with ourselves. And that is a really big indication to how we're not tapping into the intelligence that we're endowed with.
Could it just be that we're stupid? Plain and simple, that we're just stupid?
Look, Rob, you know what? There's a sublime reality that we've overlooked. In fact, we are actually all geniuses. But we're not tapping into that because we weren't told that we were a genius, because many of us were told we were stupid and we're only human. How many times have we heard you're only human? Because that's how we relate to ourselves. The brain does as it's told, so the brain gives us the very experience that we're only human, that we're stupid.
So you're telling me that it's been society that's been dumbing us down?
Yeah, look, the beliefs that we've been passing down from generation to generation has led us all to believe or to conclude that we're simply not enough. We're simply inadequate. We're not smart enough. We're not attractive enough. We're just not good enough.
Well, I have to ask you this question at this point.
Sure.
You said that we were at the top, and yet we are for a lack of better words, the mammals that deliberately go out to kill other mammals. When you look at dogs, cats, horses, and the list goes on, they don't wage war on other species just for the hell of it.
Exactly, and that's exactly the point. Exactly the point I'm making here is that we're meant to be at the top of the food chain, yet we're acting quite the opposite. And it's become almost like a commonly held belief that our very nature is destructive.
Right.
And Rob, you can look around and we've got plenty of evidence to suggest that. But when you go deeper, when you go into more of an expanded awareness, like an enlightened space, you can get to see it's not our nature to be destructive. Rather, it's because we've been disconnected from our nature.
So, when we look at society, what's going on today, for example, earlier today, Libya did a mortar attack on Turkey. That's going to just increase the size of the tension over in the Middle East. We have the presidential debates, which start tonight between President Obama and Mitt Romney. We have all this turmoil going on in our world today, whether it's because of religious philosophies or what should I say, political aspirations of the few and the mighty. How would realizing each one of us understanding that we are all geniuses change the events of the world?
It's such a beautiful question, Rob. I'm really glad you asked it. Our behaviors, our decisions and our behaviors and all the actions we take reflect how big or how small we see ourselves. When we see ourselves as an idiot, or when we see ourselves as hated or not good enough, we make the corresponding decisions like, crime and greed and attack and revenge, all those decisions. When we see ourselves as more, when we see ourselves as a genius, when we see that we are actually, and this is going to sound cliche, but this is where it comes down to, when we actually see that we're loved and we're complete and we're perfect, then we start making decisions from that space. We start making much smarter, much brighter decisions that create fulfillment. So you want to create peace around the world, we need to start finding peace within ourselves, then our decisions will be peaceful ones.
Do you think it's too late for the world to turn around? Or are we on that? No, eh?
No, what I've seen in this journey through the all-knowing diary is that we do need to make changes now. We do have a steep road ahead of us, but we really don't have that choice, so to speak. We need to make the changes. We no longer have that leeway or that buffer to be skeptical, to hold back, to pursue greed. We need to find the truth within ourselves. We need to do it now.
How about relationships?
Yes.
How would this all-knowing diary help each and every one of us in our daily personal relationships as well as in the workplace?
Yeah, another great question. What often happens, Rob, is that we are carrying around a reality in our subconscious mind, like a whole collection of our beliefs. So what our parents' relationship was like, what the relationships we saw on TV were like, we've got this whole reference point, and which isn't the truth, mind you. So what happens is we make our decisions about relationships, who we want, how we treat them, how we treat our kids, based on the beliefs that were made in error. Now, when we move into this all-knowing mind space, head space, we actually start seeing beyond the beliefs to actually what's true. Not somebody else's truth, but our own truth. So then we start being attracted to people that aren't coming from our inadequacies or aren't being pushed away from our fears. We start having people in our life that are actually congruent and compatible with where we're at and our soul evolution, so to speak.
Exonation, we're talking to Daniel Rechnitzer about his book, The All-Knowing Diary, www.allknowingdiary.com. What has been the results with you teaching or allowing people to open up their own minds, getting their right and left hemispheres to work together, and the changes that you've seen that have happened in their lives firsthand?
Well, we've got some amazing stories, and I'd love to share one if we have
Please
time.
do,
Rob.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess to answer the immediate question, it's what this gives you is any challenge you have, whether it's about business, relationships, even having a pain-free birth, that intelligence that went into being human is available to us. So we've got this incredible intelligence, this genius available to solve our biggest questions. Now, Rob, if we've got a minute, I'd love to share a story.
Please do, yeah.
Great. On New Year's Eve this year, I was called by someone I know who knows the work that we do, and he said, he could barely talk, and he was in the emergency ward in the hospital.
My gosh.
And he said, I'm just being prepped to have my gallbladder removed. Can you help me? This was about to happen in the next 15, 20 minutes. He was about to go under the knife. And I said, all right, fine. So I went into what we call this whole brain space, where you use 100% of your brain, and it almost feels a bit like a meditative space. And I went to this space, and I kind of, we're all connected like this wireless antenna, and I kind of connected with the thoughts coming from his body, and human beings broadcast thoughts, and I kind of asked his body, I said, what's going on? Why is his gallbladder so inflamed?
Yeah.
And his body showed me that he had been retaining this self-hatred for about 20 years, and it was around, he hated the kind of father that he was to his thought. He thought he was a terrible father.
Mm-hmm.
And his our bodies did not sustain self-hate. So anyway, I said to him, I said, look, we can work through this. Give you 15 minutes and it will be gone, or you can have your surgery. You choose. And Rob, he paused. Surprisingly, he paused to think about it. Anyway, we spoke for 15 minutes. I helped him see the truth about what was actually going on. All the pain completely disappeared. Midway through that phone call, the surgeon came in to prep him, kicked the surgeon out and said, I'm on a very important phone call, get out.
Wow.
Within that 15 minutes, all the pain completely disappeared, and he was discharged from the hospital, no pain ever since then.
This makes it sound very true and further testimony to the fact that we all carry baggage with us.
We do, and it's at the root cause of not only the aging and not only the struggles in our life, but also the illness and the deterioration in our body. The body is simply reflecting all the baggage that we're carrying at the subconscious level.
All right, here you are, a gentleman from Australia who's come across this eureka moment, and you're sharing it with the world, called The All-Knowing Diary. You have done it. And I am very happy that you've done it and you're sharing it with the world. But how come the medical profession, for example, the psychological profession, or other people have not come up with this, what you're explaining to be a very simple procedure?
And Rob, you answered your own question there in a sense. The minute you bring something to light that's simple, it does a couple of things to people. Now, if you've invested an entire career on studying and studying and studying so that you have an edge, you have a knowledge that someone can come to you, then it's very threatening. That's one thing. It's very confronting to let something in simple when you've worked so hard with something that's so complex.
No, that's true.
That's the first thing. A lot of people work very hard to make a name for themselves and their expertise. The second part of what comes with simplicity is if you base the whole career on selling something that's complicated, such as drugs and medication, all these complicated procedures and unnecessary procedures, there's not a hell of a lot of money in simplicity.
True. So it's all about the dollar and cents.
Yeah, we tend to overlook simplicity unless there's a very big vested interest in it.
You know, I've always had this saying, and members of the Exo Nation who are listening tonight around the world are going to be saying to themselves, "Oh, here he does it again." My outlook on life is the following: life is simple, we complicate it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So yeah, this is about coming back to the simple. It's all there. All the answers are there inside ourselves.
Right.
The brain can diagnose all the illness. We are our own healer. It's all there. You're absolutely right, Rob. Absolutely right, Rob.
Tell me, Was this knowledge known by the ancients?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we've gone through many different kind of eras in our growth and in our evolution. That many, thousands of years ago, we were very aware, we were very enlightened.
Yeah.
Certain events happened. We lost that intelligence. We lost that awareness. It went kind of to the east. India and Asia. They became very profound and very tapped into their true nature and their genius. And, it's, I guess, my role and many others like me who are trying to bring that awareness back to the West, because we became so invested in the material world, in not being enough and being inadequate. Yeah, so, the natives, they've held it. They didn't complicate their life.
All right, my friend, please stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour for the news. Exonation, our very special guest this hour is Daniel Rechnitzer, and his website is www.allknowingdiary.com. We'll be back on the other side of the news with some words from our fine sponsors as the X-Zone continues. We're right here, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Radio Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, Star Cable, and our broadcast affiliates worldwide. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. www.xzoneradiotv.com is our website for our podcast. You can either go to Apple iTunes and just type in X-Zone Radio Show, or go to www.xzonepodcast.com. By the way, the X Chronicles newspaper will be distributed this coming weekend, and this is my favorite time of the year, Halloween. Our big Halloween issue will be distributed worldwide on Halloween Day. My guest this hour is Daniel Rechnitzer. We're talking about something very unique and something that really got my interest here. It's entitled The All-Knowing Diary. His website is www.allknowingdiary.com. All right, so basically what we're saying that this knowledge was used by the ancients, and why people in the medical profession and other professions that cater or that abuse the health of people one way or another is because they won't make any money off it, and that includes Big Pharma. So how do we best use this? For example, I come to you and I say, Daniel, I want to learn how to use your system. And you say, all right, Rob, it's going to take me a couple of hours. And does a person's skeptical outlook on this affect the learning process?
Yeah, look, Rob, every belief that we hold, every belief, and the majority of our beliefs are beneath our awareness, subconscious to us, every belief we hold will affect everything that we do. So everything that we do in life, and also, and equally important, in your ability to access this genius. So yeah, if we're skeptical, and I have to say, Rob, there is a certain irony to to skepticism. That is, we happen to live in a reality that reflects how much we believe. So whatever we believe, it's going to reflect. The less we believe, the less we experience. The more we believe, the more we get to experience. So yeah, you want to tone down the skepticism in order to let in your genius. That would be the first thing.
Okay. So can you, without spilling the beans and without people buying your book, because, you know, I'm sure many listeners will want to know more about how they can use this technique to their advantage. When somebody goes to you or they read your book, is the lesson the same?
Yeah, look, there is, in the book, we detail three simple steps that allow you to create both those brain hemispheres working together, that whole brain state, which allows you to start accessing your true intelligence. Now, from that point, and it really depends on how far you want to go. You know, we've got some people that are applying this in sports. We have some people that apply this in business. My wife used this to have a pain-free birth. It really depends where you want to go as to what we need to do from that point. And really from that point, it's really about looking at what beliefs you're holding on to as true.
So it's all up to you.
Absolutely. This is, you know, your universe is a reflection of what's going on the inside. So the more you can change on the inside, the bigger your universe gets on the outside.
I'm just sitting here wondering what a different world this would be if we were able to teach children how to use their entire brain ability instead of the 5 or 10% that we limit them to.
Well, you know, it's a real passion of mine what you've just touched on. It is amazing. I've got another little story to share if we've got a bit of time.
Oh, sure do, yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of little instances where this shows up. It's amazing to see, because we teach kids this. We do a kids course, and it only takes them, you know, we normally teach adults in a couple of hours, and kids just get it instantly pretty much. We did a course for kids. We had 16 kids in a room, and they were all around in a circle, and they'd just be taught how to access this antenna brain, if you like. And we invited one of the parents to stand in the middle of the room, and the kids could just access this all-knowing intelligence to give the parents message on how to improve their life. Now, remember here, we're not using intellect, we're not using opinions, we're not using expertise. This is kids didn't go to a university or learn psychology. These kids learned this technique. So each child, we asked every child, there's 16 kids, went around the room, and within about 5 seconds, the kids would close their eyes and they'd come back with a response. The very first response that came out was, and they don't know this person, first response was, "You moving house way too many times." Parent in the room went bright red. They'd moved 8 times in 5 years.
Wow.
Child didn't know this. Next little kid, now 6-year-old child, said, "You're not walking your dog enough." Woman goes bright red, tears start coming out of her eyes. "I've been neglecting my dog. I feel terrible."
Oh, my goodness.
Next child, third kid says, "You've got to stop arguing with your husband. It's scaring your children." Burst into tears once again. These kids can tap into this all-knowing intelligence. It's innate to all of us, and they learn it real quick. So what a world. You're absolutely right. What a magnificent world this will be when we can teach all the kids.
When we're looking at the world, I touched briefly on it before about the ancients. How does the all-knowing diary fit into a person's spiritual belief?
Beautiful question. If we look at this through, if you like, intuitive eyes or all-knowing eyes, what we get to see is something magnificent. We often look at human beings and say, human beings are physical body plus consciousness. There's, you know, there's self-awareness inside somebody's head. Now, in truth, the human being is really a personification of what the universe is. If you want to know how the universe works and how spirituality and science come together, we look at the human being. If we were to overlay that very same model, we get to see around stars, planets, and galaxies, that if we were to overlay a giant brain, pure consciousness over every single thing we see physical, that's what we get to see. So spirituality is the consciousness that already exists, that permeates all physical matter, permeates our physical body, that's trying to come in through the brain to lead us to the perfect life. So it fits in exactly that path. It's the path of enlightenment, the path of spirituality.
Would this technique of the all-knowing diary help children who have behavioral or learning difficulties?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of parents come to us with kids in those situations, and the biggest reason we see is back to the beliefs. A child, when they're young, gets labelled by the teacher, or labelled, unfortunately, or accidentally by a parent that says, "You're not good at maths," or "You're not good at English," "You're a bit slow to learn." And they pick these beliefs up. So really the brain is just reflecting or mirroring back what the beliefs are that's being held by the children. Likewise, bullying, the behavioral issues. These are all coming from these beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, the only way to get attention is to yell and kick and scream and hurt somebody. We're just reflecting the beliefs of those around us. So yeah, we can really shift it very quickly.
Now, this is something that I've been told you say that our reality is a reflection of ourselves. What insight do you have about global issues like the financial crisis?
Yeah, beautiful one. Our experience on an individual level reflects the beliefs we hold on an individual level. Our experience on a planet reflects the beliefs we're holding at a planetary level. If you're to look at what is creating those economies, it is because the beliefs we're holding means we're not on purpose. There are very, very few people living life on purpose. And purpose is that intelligence, that guiding hand, if you like, that intelligence that creates nature and ecosystem. Well, it's part of us. When we're not part of that ecosystem, we're not contributing back to it, well, all hell breaks loose, so to speak. So the economies go out, relationships go out, cancer starts forming. So the economy is really reflecting a whole group, a large population, not being on purpose.
So it seems that money is the root of all evil.
Well, the way we're relating to it, absolutely. We relate to money as more important than our survival. And that's what we're experiencing.
I guess that's because we've been told that without money you can't survive. We've been programmed to accept the negative and programmed to reject the positive.
Rob, that's absolutely right. We are just following the program, just like a blueprint.
Unbelievable.
We believe money is more important than our own well-being, and that's exactly what we're seeing out in the world.
Am I correct in then assuming or believing, because when you assume something, you make an ass out of you and me, but am I correct in believing that the all-knowing diary would also be classified as the secret to success in one's career?
If there was ever a secret to success in one's career, it would be this, exactly that. To be able to access the genius that's available is going to show you the shortcut, the safest, most fulfilling path to your success. So yeah, absolutely. And in all areas.
Really? Give me your feedback or your thoughts on business successes and all-knowing.
We've had a couple of clients that we've worked with, and one of them was about to experience bankruptcy. Oh. And they came to us and said, come on, apply what you know, apply this ability to access all-knowing to help us. Mm-hmm. Well, we did that. And what the all-knowing brain gets to see, it's almost like it can perceive the imperceptible. It allows you to access what's hidden in the cracks, what your conscious mind, what any normal mind would not see. And we're able to find the levers, the exact root cause of the business failure, and remove that. And we're able to turn the business around in 3 months to being $300,000 in the black. It is, Rob, it is amazing. The brain perceives the consciousness or the intelligence of a business to diagnose exactly the fastest way to grow it.
All right, you yourself are a very successful entrepreneur. In what ways has utilizing the whole brain intelligence set you apart from other successful entrepreneurs?
From other entrepreneurs? Oh, very good question. Well, look, ultimately, those entrepreneurs, the big guys out there who are doing big things and are remaining healthy and vital during it, well, they're tapping into that whole brain. Wherever we've got self-belief, we start accessing that greater intelligence. But, I think one of the biggest things that sets me apart and my wife and what we're doing is, because we're coming from an all-knowing space, making money and making success doesn't take anything away. And what I mean by that is many people create business success, but they lose their relationships. They lose their children's well-being. They lose their health.
They lose their very identity.
Yeah. But we are learning to see ourselves as bigger. So our identity is becoming, if you like, opened and free rather than more constrained. And our relationship's improving. Our relationship with our child is improving. So there's two. If you're coming from the need to succeed from your belief system, from not feeling enough, then that money and that experience will take away from you. If you're coming from I already am enough without money, without success, then it will only add to you. You'll keep growing.
You know, after having talked to you for nearly 40 minutes now, I can tell that you're a very happy person. And I mean happiness from within. What's your secret to happiness?
Well, it's really this. It's really that we need to see that we're not who we think we are. You know, I was brought up with a lot of beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not intelligent enough to make it in the world. Now, when we relate to ourselves as who we've been told we are, well, that's a recipe for being unhappy for a very long time. I've fortunately been shown over the last, 10, 15 years that we're actually not who we've been told we are, that we're actually infinitely more. So I've developed a relationship with that other guy who is infinite as opposed to not enough. And that's really been the secret to my happiness.
You know, I remember not that long ago being in a restaurant with my wife, and the couple beside us at the table were rather loud, and the guy says, the lady said, "Who do you think you are?" And he said, "Well, I am," and he gave his name. And his wife turned to him and looked at him with a scowl on her face, and she says, "That's what you think." You know, like, come on. If you want to suppress somebody, whether it's your husband, your wife, your child, your friend, your neighbor, you're just feeding them negativity. Label. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. It's one of the big things in the All-Knowing Diary is stop giving yourself and stop giving other people labels, because it becomes a prison cell.
Because as I see it, if you're negative with other people, that's because you yourself live in a negative world. If you're positive with other people, then you are yourself a very positive person.
Yeah, yeah.
Then why is it people have such a hard time understanding this very simplistic approach?
Because, Rob, they're brought up feeling so unloved and hated and so rejected. It's nearly impossible to give love and approval and acceptance of others. It's got to start with us, the man in the mirror, or the woman in the mirror.
Yeah. Well, you know what's the old saying? If you don't love yourself, no one else will.
Yeah. That is, the biggest prerequisite. If we love ourselves, then we'll experience love from others without ever experiencing hurt.
You know, it seems that history is filled with these little one-liners. Shakespeare, "To thine own self be true." There's another one. And we've been told this time and time again, yet the simplicity of it all seems to evade our grasp of reality.
Again, it's the simplicity theme. It's for so many people, it's easier to find a solution out there, to take the pill, to buy the retail therapy, or to see somebody who apparently knows, some expert who knows more than you. But really, and how many times equally, Rob, have we been told the answers all come from within?
Many times.
So, yeah, we need to come back to that. And, I heard that for many years, but I never knew why. I never knew why the answers come from within.
All right, so Stan, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off here for a second.
Sure.
Dan, you and I have to take our final break. Exonation, Daniel Rechnitzer as our special guest. He is the author of The All-Knowing Diary. His website is www.allknowingdiary.com. Christmas is coming up. This would be a fantastic gift for everyone you know. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Once again, www.allknowingdiary.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. with my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Dreams are our personal gateways into infinite wisdom. Don't miss shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Corcoran's inspiring book, Shamanic Awakening Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles Sandra's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers and her initiations throughout the Americas and across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt. Sandy's knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private tarot readings, international journeys, a meditative CD, as well as her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate this earth walk, creating a deeper connection to yourself and all that is. Find this and more at Sandy's website, starwalkervisions.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Daniel Rechnitzer is our special guest. And we're talking about his book, The All-Knowing Diary website, www.allknowingdiary.com. First of all, Daniel, as I said off air, it's been a great pleasure having you with us tonight here on the X-Zone. I can only imagine the number of lives you're changing with people using this technique. And the nice part about change is it trickles down.
Yes, thanks, Rob. Thank you.
All right.
An absolute pleasure.
As you and I both know, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in the United States, Canada, the Great Britain, wherever, there's an increasing number in homeless. Homeless people, homelessness is no longer in the closet. It's on main streets everywhere. Why do we experience so many extremes in our countries?
It's a great question, Rob. When you learn to bring those hemispheres together, go into that whole brain space, we move out of just being oriented towards just money or being oriented towards just our own needs. And we begin to see, well, what's actually going to create balance and equilibrium. So we're no longer just drawing on these belief systems. So what we're needing to do is move into a time where we have far more enlightened leadership. And a lot of people think if you're enlightened, all you're going to do is care about trees. And Rob, it's not the truth. Enlightened minds, that whole brain intelligence, when you're accessing all that brain, you create balance. Yeah. So we're needing to access who we really are, that genius, and there'll be the end of homelessness amongst many other things.
How will the All-Knowing Diary help me to better understand the universe and all its secrets?
Wow, beautiful question. That's been my journey. I've been on that. Well, remember I mentioned earlier that the consciousness doesn't just exist within ourselves, that we actually exist within this enormous field of consciousness. When you go into that all-knowing brain, that whole brain, you can actually talk to that consciousness and start asking it all of your biggest questions. How did we get here? How did the earth happen? Why are we on this planet? Why do we struggle? What's the meaning to life? And how did the universe get formed? And that's actually going to be in my second book. But yeah, that's how you get to do it. You can ask it all the questions you like.
What holds? What does the future hold for accessing future events using the All-Knowing Diary?
Well, linear time is really a chosen perspective of the mind. The mind can actually move beyond the linear perspective, and we can actually go into timeless, where we can see all events at once. That allows us to see where our decisions are taking us. So before we even need to make a decision, we actually can see the outcome of our decisions in this whole brain space. And that allows us to start making decisions that create the outcomes we desire rather than create the outcomes that all need fixing later in the future.
Daniel, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. Quickly, where can our listeners get a copy of your book?
Jump onto Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, or order it down at your local bookshop. Ask them to get it in. They'll be available online, and there's an ebook as well.
Excellent. So when does your next book come out?
Give me about 3 to 6 months on that. I've only just finished it on this tour here, and it's about 6 months away.
And what are some of the cities people can try and catch you in this tour that you're doing?
Thanks, Rob. Well, we're currently in Los Angeles, and we're doing a couple of courses here. Over the next week, we're going down to San Diego, Las Vegas, Sedona, and Phoenix. The tour our schedule is on the website at allknowingdiary.com.
Daniel, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Once again, thanks for the great work you're doing, and safe travels. And I look forward to talking to you again the next time you join me here in the X Zone.
Oh, Rob, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, sir. All right, X Zone Nation, that was our guest for this hour, Daniel Rechnitzer, www.allknowingdiary.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the hour as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, 2 websites, www.xzoneradiotv.com and xzonepodcast.com. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side.